Hello, everyone, and welcome to our picture book party. I am Ronny Khuri, Senior Editor for Books for Youth at Booklist, and before we begin, I will go over some technical details. Links to today's slide presentation and title list were included in a reminder email that you received from Zoom about an hour ago. To download them, you can open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links located there. You can also download the slides and title list by typing the URLs on this screen into your web browser. If you have any trouble accessing these materials, please contact us at webinars@booklistonline.com. If you're in the audience, you are in listen-only mode, but we do welcome any questions that you might have. So on the bottom of your Zoom screen is a toolbar with a button for Q&A. If you have a question, if you need technical assistance, you can just click Q&A and type your message into the box that pops up. We will do our best to respond to all of the tech-related questions, and we can pass along all the other questions to today's panelists, and they will be able to follow up with you after the webinar. We also offer closed captioning on all of our webinars. To enable or disable captions on your screen, you can look for and click the captions icon on the toolbar that I mentioned before. From there, you can select show or hide captions from the menu that appears. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of the captions at any time by selecting caption settings. And finally, Booklist does expect all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect. So anyone who violates that standard of behavior may at any time be removed. And today we have the pleasure of hearing from Casey Griffin, Senior Marketing Manager at Phoenix International Publications, Sam Devoda, Marketing and Sales Manager, and Evan Monday, Publicity Manager, both from Penguin Random House, Canada. Heather Ami, Director of Marketing at Publisher Spotlight. Colette Perry, Marketing Design Associate at Charlesbridge, and Deidre Purvis, Acquisitions Editor for Free Spirit Publishing. And first, we will hear from Casey Griffin. As the Senior Marketing Manager, Casey's duties include developing marketing plans across imprints, creating monthly newsletters to showcase new and seasonal titles, coordinating with licensors for creative collaborations, and managing Phoenix's participation in industry events. Her favorite part of her job is the ever-changing day-to-day that presents new challenges and opportunities. Thank you so much for joining us, Casey.
Hello. Thank you all so much for being here today. I'm excited to talk about these picture books, so let's jump on in here. Next. Our first title is Spooky, written and illustrated by Sally Ann Garland. This is my first Sally Ann Garland title today, but there will be more. This one has just come out, so it's perfect timing for fall and spooky season. Moving into a new place is always a little exciting, a little nerve-wracking, and a little spooky. When a new family moves into a big old house, they soon discover that a little black cat is already living there. As they unpack and settle in, everyone learns to live together as a family. This story is all about life changes and being patient in new situations. Next, Heave Ho. This is our second Sally Ann Garland title. This story follows Cub as he experiences some big feelings and learns how to deal with them. At first, he shuts down and stomps off, but then he calms himself down and he and his friends set off on an imaginary journey across the sea. It's a gentle story about self-regulation, finding the space to do so, and that sometimes being a friend is just being ready to be there when someone lets you in. Next. This is The Moon Seed. This story is a reimagining of one of the seeds that was brought into orbit on the Apollo 14 mission. This seed is planted and grows, stretching its branches toward the moon, where it wants to be close to again. This is a lovely story about enjoying the ones around you and finding the beauty right where you are. Next, The Nightlight. Little Wolf is too afraid of the dark to fall asleep. Then, one night, he has a bright idea. Taking deep breaths and thinking happy thoughts helps Wolf feel calm enough to go to sleep. This gentle story helps introduce young readers to deep breathing and visualization through a cozy story that is perfect for reading at bedtime and a great reminder that there are always bright lights within us. This title comes out in June of 2026, so it's coming fast and furious. Next. These are some of our other Sally Ann Garland titles that are already available. Next. It's Boring Being a Cat, written by Adam Bestwick and illustrated by Chris Caddy. Cat is sick and tired of being a cat. It is so boring. He has great dreams of being a lion or a horse or a polar bear, but Dog is there to point out why he would not actually want to be any of those animals. This silly rhyming story follows Cat as he discovers that being himself is not so boring after all. Next, I Tell You That I Love You, written by Tanaya Winder and illustrated by Chiari Dominguez. I tell you that I love you, and you say I love you too. You sing it so sweetly, I know that it's true. This is a joyful poem that celebrates the bond between a parent and child set against the beautiful oil-painted backdrop of the natural world. It is a lyrical celebration of Indigenous voices and art and encourages connections to the land, heritage, and familial bonds. This title comes out in December. Next, There Was an Old Granny Who Got a Tattoo, written by Anne Sawan and illustrated by Diabel Cerna. There was an old granny who jumped out of bed and shouted out loud, "I'm old, I'm not dead." Tattoos, pink hair, and black leather boots are only the start of this grandma's adventures. This is a playful, empowering reminder that it's never too late to try something new, and the perfect read for story time with any granny. This one comes out in February of 26. Next. Not So Bad Guy's Vampire, written and illustrated by Michael Buxton. Count Derek is a vampire, and he is excited to move into his new home and make new friends. But the townsfolk are wary and a bit afraid of him. What can he do to change their minds? This is a sweet story about perspective and seeing others for who they really are. This one is available now. Next. This is Not So Bad Guy's Snow Monster, also written and illustrated by Michael Buxton. Simon is a Yeti and a bit of a homebody that likes his home quiet, peaceful, serene, exactly the way it is. But when some humans start ruining things, what can he do to make them stop? This is another great story about perspective and seeing things differently. This one comes out in September, so it could be a monster title, but it could also be a great winter title with a wonderful winter wonderland backdrop. Next, Random Acts of Cakeness, written by Vicky Marmaras and illustrated by Isabel Duffy. Arun is the friend that is always there when someone needs to be cheered up. Maybe not so much in his words, but definitely in his actions. But who will cheer him up when he bites off more than he can chew? His friends, of course. Publishers Weekly reviewed it as a sweet ode to the way kindness inspires kindness, and that's exactly what the story is. Next. To Be a Cheetah, written by Joanne Hillhouse and illustrated by Zavan Archibald. As a mother tucks her little dreamer into bed, she lets him know that wherever he goes, he can always come home. This is a loving bedtime story that transports readers from their cozy bedrooms to the savannas of Africa and back again. Next, Are We There Yet? Written by Melissa Abraham and illustrated by Simone Douglas. Soretta has so many questions. Do pigs snore? Can sheep cartwheel? Do fairies live over there? And sometimes she doesn't even let her mom answer. She makes up her own answers with her own fantastical imagination. This story is a playful conversation between a patient mom and her curious daughter. What will Soretta ask next on the walk to Aunt Abby's house? You'll have to read it and find out. Next, Nail Polish is Two for Boys, written by Emma Claire Sunday and illustrated by Caitlin O'Dwyer. Alex lives a very gray and drab life. He's shy and hesitant until one summer he goes to camp, meets a ton of new friends, and paints his nails for the very first time. He suddenly experiences the world in vivid color. But what will his dad and big brother say about his nails? The illustrations start gray and reflect the changes in Alex's growingly colorful world. And so the question is, what colors shine through when you're just being you? Next. Oops, so sorry. A Job for Penelope, written and illustrated by Melanie Miketz. Everyone in Penelope's family has a job. Mom is a super important lawyer, dad is a gourmet chef, and her brother is in school. But well, Penelope is not currently employed. But this Boston Terrier does not want to sit at home all day and wait for her family to come back. She decides to try out a few jobs. Fire dog, police dog, sheepdog. Eventually, she finds the right fit. This sweet story shows the importance of trying new things and finding the spaces where your talents are appreciated. Next. That's it for me. All these titles have or will have free downloadable activity sheets on our website. This is my info and where you can find more info on these and all of our Sunbird books. Please feel free to reach out if you have questions. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Casey. Next, we will hear from Sam Devoda and Evan Monday. Sam is the marketing and sales manager, school and library at Penguin Random House, Canada. Since 2017, she has worked in both marketing and publicity for young readers titles at PRHC and is now exploring the world of library sales, connecting with librarians and wholesalers across Canada as well as trade shows in the US, unless she's traveling for a concert. Evan is the publicity manager for Penguin Random House Canada Young Readers. Prior to his work with Tundra, he was director of the Word on the Street Book Festival in Toronto and publicist at Coach House Books. He also is the author and illustrator of a series of novels for young readers, The Dead Kid Detective Agency, published by ECW Press, and he's a horror movie enthusiast. Thank you so much for being here today, Team Tundra.
Hi, everyone. This is Sam speaking. Thanks so much for tuning into this webinar, and let's get started. We are starting strong with one of my new favorites, Everyday Bean by Stephanie Gregan. Meet Bean, a tiny, adorable hedgehog who goes on all sorts of adventures with her grandma. Over the course of 10 bite-sized stories, we see Bean getting up to all sorts of adventures, chasing her hat, swinging in the park, battling a bad mood, and telling ghost stories with Grandma around the fire. Spoiler alert, Grandma's story involves giant strawberries. Each story is only a couple of pages long, making this a great book to stretch over a few days, though you'll find it impossible to stop yourself from reading it all in one shot. While it's very much a picture book for a picture book crowd, we can also see this working as a transitional book for kids who are just exploring chapter books. Everyday Bean is the first book in a series with a second book coming out in 2026. It has already received 4-star reviews from outlets including Bookpage, Kirkus, Publishers Weekly, and The Hornbook, who all called out Bean's liveliness and endless optimism. Stephanie Gregan's art infuses Bean's world with a soft and cozy glow. Combined with her friendly prose and relatable stories, this is a collection that will appeal to kids and grown-ups alike. We have art cards featuring my favorite scene from Everyday Bean, where Bean and Grandma visit a succulent store, and we'd be happy to send you some. Please email me if you'd like any.
Thanks, Sam. This is Evan, and I'm thrilled to be talking about our very first picture book from the best-selling Narwhal and Jelly graphic novel series. With this picture book, everyone's favorite anxious jellyfish takes center stage as the notoriously danger-averse invertebrate attempts to safely navigate the dangerous ocean and this book. This is an interactive picture book inspired by the grandpappy of that genre. There's a monster at the end of this book, so young readers are the ones often gleefully providing the dangers. The book is already a regular at story times and bookstores and libraries because of the incredible reactions from young readers. School Library Journal described it as letting kids dabble in destructive tendencies without actually hurting anyone. And is there a better way to spend a morning in your library? Our Aquatic Friends venture into picture books has made a real splash too, already being named one of Barnes & Noble's best picture books of 2025 so far, an Amazon Best Book of June, and a national indie bestseller. But if you're worried that Mr. Clanton has abandoned the medium that made Narwhal and Jelly famous, have no fear. There are more graphic novels to come, including the 10th book in December, A Waffle Lot of Love.
Isn't this the cutest baby you've ever seen? Bubby sure thinks so, and she's ready to tell you exactly how much she adores this little one. After finding Baby, behind the blanket of course, Bubby fells over all the parts of her grandchild she adores, from the top of their head to the tips of their toes, expressing her joy with Yiddish words. This interactive read-aloud shares the joy of a grandparent-grandchild bond in a way that Kirkus called joyful, uplifting, and pure fun. From cheek-squishing to keppy head-kissing, watch this exuberant grandma and her so-cute-I-can't-stand-it grandchild delight in each other's company. Robin Rosenthal, illustrator of the Big Ideas for Little Philosophers and Big Ideas for Little Environmentalists series, brings her unique style to this ode to Jewish joy. Put this on your Jewish interest tables and make sure to display it before the holidays for Jewish families to bring to their next gathering. With a Yiddish glossary at the back, Sweet Babe introduces body vocabulary and awareness to young children in a funny, playful way. We have flashcards spotlighting 5 Yiddish words that Bubby uses and would kvel over sending you some. Please email me if you'd like a set.
Some have said Yiddish is a language in which words have wings, and if you want words with wings and magic things, do I have an extraordinary collection of children's poetry for you. At the height of pandemic lockdown, award-winning author Matthew Burgess began texting with Caldecott medalist Doug Salati. Matthew would send Doug a poem, Doug would send back an illustration, and in short order, this spellbinding collection was complete. Within awaits a dragon piñata, an alligator on the A train, a hungry yeti, an ice cream dream, jetpack sneakers, and so much more. And each section of the book opens with an incredible die-cut portal. Just like with Jurassic Park, we've spared no expense. The book has been well received with interviews on NPR and starred reviews. It harkens back to classic collections by Shel Silverstein. We hope it inspires more children's poetry to come. The New York Times says this is the perfect book to show kids that writing and drawing can transport them to new worlds, and we couldn't agree more. We hope this book helps inspire the next generation of wordsmiths. And this inspiring poster is available for account, so please contact us if you would like one or more.
Who doesn't love a day at the beach, especially when you're an aspiring baker who uses sand to create delicious treats? The only problem is no one wants to try them, and Sandcakes, a little girl, is having just this problem. Sandcakes is the ideal read-aloud for beach days or to encourage little readers to explore their creative culinary side. As Booklist says, the girl's inventive delicacies may even inspire readers to try making their own snacks. Callie George's bubbly rhymes capture the feeling of playing in the sand and molding stunning creations like rock-sprinkled cakes, seaweed pies, and seafoam cream puffs. But can our little baker find a willing customer? Devin Halsworth's vibrant art is a perfect complement, making each sandy dessert look more appealing than the last and conveying the little girl's frustration when no one takes a bite. Sandcakes is a fantastic SEL title with themes of imagination and perseverance, as well as a budding interest in baking and creating, perfect for preschoolers.
Continuing the section we've called Little Poets, we've got a lovely little lullaby, ideal for summer nights, just like the one coming up, Bright Lights and Summer Nights. In its spare rhythmic poetry, this picture book was inspired by Margaret Wise Brown's classic Goodnight Moon, but author Shantae Grant, known for her picture books My Fate is Fresh and Africville, has penned a poem featuring a Black mother and baby and a diverse cast of children. And the art by Zach Manbeck skips the tiger skin rugs on bunny floors and replaces it with luminous, magical, and kaleidoscopic artwork with homages to Van Gogh and Monet, as well as Fantasia and Wizard of Oz. This is a perfect poem for bedtime. The book was designed to induce a dreamy feeling in young readers, gently soothing kids to a place where they are ready for an enchanted night's rest. As Kirkus raves in their star review, this is the kind of restorative dream one hopes to have. We hope you all have restorative dreams about ordering this book. You can also, in addition, order from us this lovely foldable art card featuring Manbeck's amazing artwork.
Tundra is lucky to be home to some incredible Indigenous creators, including experimental recording artist Tanya Tagaq, whose previous picture book, It Bears Repeating, came out last year. Her latest, I Would Give You My Tale, is a sweet story about an Inuk family's connections. Kuluk leaves his camp to tell his grandmother that his mother is about to have a baby. While on his journey, Kuluk meets animals who tell him the secret to their happiness. They would all give their tales to their loved ones. With themes of gratitude and happiness, as well as respect for nature and our elders, Tanya Tagaq turns a simple baby sibling story into a sweet reflection on all the big thoughts and emotions that come with welcoming a new family member. Her Indigenous heritage is represented in the words she uses and the connections she makes between nature and humans. Illustrator Kavavau Manumi got his start as an artist by packing and shipping carvings, and his art often depicts Inuit legends and mythology, as well as Arctic wildlife and contemporary Inuit life, making him the perfect complement to Tanya's words. I Would Give You My Tale has received 4-starred reviews so far from Publishers Weekly, Kirkus, School Library Journal, and Booklist, which called it authentic and meaningful, as well as an exquisite meditation.
Lights at Night is a new picture book from the author of Métis Like Me, Tasha Hilderman. That book, illustrated by Risa Hugo, was an unexpected hit for us, and we're thrilled to be publishing her new book. Inside, readers are invited to join 2 special families, one human, one fox, on an illuminating journey through the seasons as they explore all the different lights we see at night. Street lamps, lightning strikes, porch lights, night lights, the lights of a football stadium, and more. Unlike with Métis Like Me, the family is not explicitly Indigenous. In fact, illustrator Maggie Zhang illustrated the family to be East Asian to accord with her own childhood experience. Hilderman does not draw on her Métis culture for this book, although the images do represent the prairies, the homeland of the Métis, as well as her own living in Lloydminster, Alberta. School Library Journal notes it's a lovely look at fox and human families as they enjoy the changing lights in nature, perfect for cozy bedtime stories.
For something a bit more serious, we have Little Shoes, a gorgeous and emotional picture book that talks about residential school trauma, depicted through a conversation between a young boy and his grandmother. James and his grandmother go on a special walk with a big group of people. He learns it's called a march, and it ends in front of a memorial made up of teddy bears, flowers, and little shoes. Kokum explains that the memorial is in honor of all the Indigenous children who were in residential schools and never made it home, like her sister years ago. While Little Shoes deals with some heavy topics, the story keeps the reader feeling safe by offering comfort and support in a family setting. There's an author's note in the back matter explaining the personal connections that David A. Robertson has with residential schools, including the loss of some of his own family members. At this point, I'm hoping David A. Robertson needs no introduction, but just in case, he's the critically acclaimed author of numerous books for young readers, including previous picture books On the Trapline and The Song That Called Them Home. He also just wrapped up his middle grade fantasy series, The Missawa Saga, and is the editorial director of Tundra's upcoming Swiftwater imprint, which focuses on stories by Indigenous creators. Illustrator Maya McKibben also provided the art for David's previous book, The Song That Called Them Home. Their animation background helps give the book a dreamy feel while still staying true to the deep emotional impact of Kokum's story and offering a little bit of light in the darkness.
I'm excited to kick off our last subsection of picture books, books about things scary and supernatural and perfect for Halloween. And we're starting with a just before bedtime book, The Witching Hour by Jennifer Harris and Adeline Illyrius. We're running short on time, so I'm going to skip ahead, Taylor. But this is a picture book for supernatural nappers, super nappers, if you will. This is about the witching hour between dinner and bedtime where anything can happen with a baby and toddler. But this is a family of witches desperately trying to entertain a baby, but things are a bit more magical with little broom bouncing, flying, and levitating owl toys. Picture book blog Imaginary Elevator said the supernatural is just natural with this book, and the book is really Coven Cottagecore at its most cozy. And I'm going to pass it on to Sam, who'll talk about Vampire Jam Sandwich.
I'm going to speed through this one too. Once upon a time, a vampire took a bite out of a jam sandwich, and the rest is history. Now the jam sandwich is a vampire too, constantly on the prowl for more jam. But you can help. All you have to do is box up all your jam and leave it somewhere safe. Don't worry, a real vampire certainly won't steal all the jam, right? Between Casey Lyle's sly prose and Nikki Gregory's hilarious tongue-in-cheek art, Readers will delight in learning more about this vampire legend, which may or may not involve a vampire named Terrence in addition to the jam sandwich. Both Casey and Nikki already have a jamtastic track record with a number of other delightfully spooky books between them, and this is full of the same silly supernatural fun that makes books like Creepy Carrots such a hit. We have magnets to put on your jam jar filled fridge, of course, that we'd love to send your way. Please email me if you'd like.
And just really quickly, it's not really the spooky season without the little ghost who was a quilt. That was a sleeper hit. That's a quilt joke for us from Riel Nason and Byron Eggenschweiler. First published in fall 2020, it made it a real hit. So I'm just going to skip it and say there's a new little ghost who was a quilt winter surprise edition coming later. Just came out. Thank you so much for listening. And Sam has a last note about connecting with us if you'd like. Sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry we took up all this time, but we'd love to stay in touch and talk more about all of Tundra's books this year. Please feel free to reach out to us via email or on social media. Thanks for listening, and thanks Booklist for hosting.
Thank you, Sam and Evan. Next, we will hear from Heather Ami. Heather started her career in children's publishing 3 years ago with Publisher Spotlight and was delighted to recently be named their Director of Marketing. She can be found exhibiting books at many of the assorted librarian and educator trade shows throughout the year and co-presents with Publisher Spotlight President Ellen Myrick to various professional audiences. Being the in-house arts and crafts enthusiast, she enjoys the fun and creativity that come with working in children's books, especially bringing book recipes to life in her kitchen at home with her fiance and their 2 cats, Ravioli and Gnocchi. The floor is yours, Heather.
Hello, and thank you so much for having me. I'm here to share some outstanding new titles from small and independent publishers from around the world, and I'm very excited to get started. And what better way to start than with a teapot? Our first title is Start with a Teapot from Gecko Press. This hilarious guide to drawing is written and illustrated by Henri Glax and translated from Spanish by Daniel Hahn. Next slide, please. This must-have manual shows all of the very practical ways to draw all of the very practical things in life. As we can see here, the best way to draw an elephant is to start with a teapot. And on the next slide, we find that the best way to draw a horse is to start with an elephant. Next slide, please. This silly how-to takes readers from teapot to eukaryotic cells and everything in between. Next slide, please. Filled with humor and legitimately useful drawing tips, this title will captivate young creative minds with both its unique techniques and its silly presentation. This will be available September 9th. Moving on, and we're going to keep that pencil handy because we're going to use it to write the best story ever. This is Pencil's Best Story Ever from Postwave Children's Books and author-illustrator Carly Gledhill. Next slide, please. Here we meet Pencil and his friends Peanut and Jelly. Now, Pencil has written his most exciting story yet. The only problem is, next slide, his friends don't always want to go along with the plot. Now, who wouldn't want to traipse through the woods filled with bears? Next slide. Or raft through crocodile-infested rivers. This charming story within a story is a terrific celebration of creativity, quick thinking, and the ultimate adventure, which is life with good friends. This is available now, so you can go out and get a copy whenever you'd like. And moving on, because when I think of crocodiles, I think of teeth. And did you know that your teeth are just as unique as your fingerprints? You can learn about that and more in this illustrated introduction to the human body from Postwave Children's Books, Head to Toe. Next slide, please. Did you know that not all tears are the same, or that your eyebrows are home to millions of mites? Next slide, please. Or that each foot has over 100 muscles, ligaments, and tendons, and that in my case, after 30, your joints no longer smile like they do in this illustration. Next slide, please. Illustrator Pui Lee brings even more life to an already living thing in this notable nonfiction book that's perfect for ages 6 to 9. This is available September 23rd, so you can grab that soon. Moving on from mouths to mouthy geese, next we have Hank Meets Frank from Tiger Tales. And that's right, everyone's favorite obnoxious goose is back. And this time he may have met his match. Next slide, please. Everyone, I'm excited to introduce you to Frank. He is so cute and adorable and fluffy and sweet. Or is he? Next slide, please. Hank is on a mission to show Frank's true colors, which of course means hilarious pranks and hijinks ensue. Next slide, please. Author Maudie Powell-Tuck does a fantastic job of bringing readers in on the fun and makes this the perfect book for read-alouds. Illustrator Duncan Beatty has mastered the art of birdie side-eye as well. And on the next slide here, we're going to pause for just a second because I will be giving away some Hank Goes Honk event kits. Feel free to email me at the email address listed there, and I will get in touch with the first 5 people and we'll get those sent your way. Moving on, we all know that friendships can come from the most unexpected places, but does that even mean from the afterlife? Next slide, please. Meet the grumpy ghost upstairs. He is perfectly content on being grumpy, as well as being perfectly content being all alone in his dusty old attic. Next slide. Everything soon changes when a family moves in and a young girl decides to encroach upon his peace and snoop around this attic. Next slide. Grumpy Ghost tries desperately to do what ghosts do best and scare the little girl away, only to realize maybe he wasn't so happy being alone in that attic. Next slide, please. This safe, spooky picture book comes to us from Florist Books and award-winning Japanese author-illustrator Mamiko Shiotani, and is perfect not only for fall, but all year round. Moving on and keeping with spooky stories from Florist Books, next we have the slightly spooky tale of Fox and Mole. I'm not allowed to have favorites, and I'm not saying that I do, but next slide, please. Presented in 4 chapters from our award-winning author-illustrator of Finding the Way to Faraway Valley, Cecilia Hakila, this comfy Gothic-inspired picture book follows the friendship of Fox and Mole. Next slide, please. After reading a story about the terrible and scary scuffling monster, Mole starts to notice some rather eerie changes in his friend, as you can see from his reflection there. Next slide, please. Packed with spine-tingling details, this immersive thrill is it's Wind in the Willows meets Edgar Allan Poe is the best way to say it. So moving on, we learned that not everything in the night has to be scary. Here, author Natsu Lamkason introduces readers to the beauty and significance of Grandmother Moon in her debut picture book from Beaming Books. Next slide, please. As a young girl leaves the city and heads to the reservation with her Nohum, or grandmother, she asks why it seems like the moon is following them. Next slide, please. Her grandmother proceeds to share with her the many connections indigenous tribes have with the moon and her many gifts, as well as how helpful she is to us in so many ways. Next slide, please. Illustrator Trisha B. Waters envelops readers in the soft moonlight with her gorgeous artwork featuring all of the beauty of the land brought to life by Grandmother Moon. Next slide. Further back matter includes a note from the author and her connection with her own grandmother, as well as more information on the moons we see throughout the year. Moving on and continuing the trend of how amazing grandmothers are, that's definitely the case in this next title, Giving Thanks with Harmony from Red Comet Press. Daughter-mother author duo Kathleen Choi and Sukno Choi invite readers to celebrate Chuseok, the Korean Harvest Festival. Next slide. As Thanksgiving approaches, young Soo-jin learns that her grandmother, or Harmony, misses celebrating Chuseok in Korea. Next slide, please. Soo-jin, along with her friends Maddie and Keisha, decide to bring Chuseok to Harmony instead. They learn about all of the traditional games, customs of gratitude, and my personal favorite, the delicious foods that go along with the festival. Next slide. This heartwarming cultural celebration illustrated by Il Sung Na is the perfect addition to your holiday bookshelf and is just in time for Chuseok on October 6th, as that's already available, so you can grab that now. Moving on, celebrating our unique cultures and traditions that not only connects us with ourselves, but with those around us. And our next title, Origin, explores just that. This illuminating look at the indigenous peoples of our world dives into over 20 first-person stories. Next slide, please. Each glimpse is represented by a child of that tribe, and the culture, flora, and fauna, and customs of their people are represented across their face. Next slide. Each child stares out at the reader and invites them to learn more about what makes all of us connected as a human race. Next slide. This emphasis on community and human origin is from Franco-Uruguayan author-illustrator Nat Cardozo and took several years to complete due to diligence on the authentic representation and facts represented. And then on this next slide, feel free to scan this QR code where you can learn more about the tribes that are represented, as well as some more details on what all went into creating this exceptional work of art from Red Comet Press. Moving on to Azizi and the Little Bluebird, sometimes there are those that wish to take our culture from us as well as our freedom, and we must fight back. That is certainly the case in this next title from Lantana Publishing. Here we meet Azizi, whose land has been taken over by tyrannical leaders. Next slide. They have captured all of the bluebirds of the land and are keeping them locked in the courtyard of their palace. Next slide, please. As the rulers grow with their ill ambitions and gluttonous greed for power, their people seem to shrink and suffer. Next slide, please. That is until a little bluebird escapes and seeks Azizi's help to restore justice. Together, they fly across the land to correct the imbalance in the country and rise up as a united people. Next slide. Translated from Flemish by David Colmer and colorfully illustrated by Batchelder Honor recipient Matthias Deleuze, this contemporary fairy tale is written by Leila Kuba and was inspired by the Jasmine Revolution of Tunisia in 2010. But its words and images have the power to resonate in many places still today. And moving on to our final title, sometimes the best way to institute a change is to shift your perspective. This theory is brought to life in our final title, which is Look Up, from Azul Lopez in Transit Children's Editions. Next slide, please. This dreamy take on a Mexican legend follows a man who spends all of his time looking up. Next slide. He looks up so much, in fact, that soon the villagers start to say that the stars reflect in his eyes. People seem to think him foolish for this, and soon their words weigh not only his head, but his gaze back down to the ground. Next slide. But it's here on the ground the man notices something else. A cave filled with thousands and thousands of birds that rise to the sky and bring with them the eyes of the world. Next slide, please. This work was recently featured as a mural at the Bologna Children's Book Fair and invites readers to embrace the mystery of life and see things from a new angle. I think this ending slide is just some more information about how you can reach out to us and follow us. We've got tons of wonderful picture books from lots of different publishers. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions at all. And thank you so much for letting me be here.
Thank you, Heather. And next up, we will hear from Colette Perry. Colette has worked in marketing at Charlesbridge for 7 years. She was born and raised in Portland, Oregon, and holds a BA in Communications and Music from Simmons University. She lives in the Boston area. Take it away, Colette.
Thank you, Ronnie, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Let's get started with an exciting new title in the Storytelling Math series. Cesar's Cerulean Surprise by Jenny Lassica with illustrations by Laura Sandoval Herrera is a pitch-perfect sibling story that introduces logic. Cesar wants to borrow one of Gabby's brand new birthday crayons, the cerulean one. But can he just pick it out of the box? No. These are Gabby's crayons. No touching. He can just tell her which one is cerulean. Gabby's too young to read the labels, but the siblings work together to figure out which one is cerulean. Is it red? No. Orange? No. By process of elimination, Cesar finally steers Gabby to the right crayon. Why does he want the cerulean crayon anyway? The Storytelling Math series celebrates children using math in their daily adventures as they play, build, and discover the world around them. This playful introduction to logic will resonate with anyone who's ever had an argument with a preschooler or found a creative way to resolve a conflict with a sibling. Cesar's Cerulean Surprise is on sale October 21st. Let's keep the nonfiction fun rolling with From Bam to Burp by Melissa Stewart, illustrated by Marta Alvarez Miguens. This rollicking read follows a carbon atom from its creation at the dawn of time through millennia of molecular mayhem. Atoms never disappear. They just keep moving from object to object and creature to creature. Our carbon atom teams up with 2 oxygen atoms to become the CO2 in a volcanic eruption. Then it gets sucked into a cycad leaf and pulled into a sugar molecule, perfect for a dinosaur breakfast. A crab shell, a lump of coal, a butterfly egg, a rotting jack-o'-lantern on a compost heap. This atom has been all kinds of places. And finally, it ends up as a sugar molecule again in a very different breakfast, your breakfast. Back Matter gives more information about the carbon cycle and answers key questions about atoms, molecules, and carbon dioxide's role in the climate crisis. From Bam to Burp is on sale October 28th. Deep under a mountain at the top of the world, a priceless treasure is hidden. This is not a fairy tale. We are still on nonfiction. Just in case, saving seeds in the Svalbard Global Seed Vault is the true story of the people who protect the most precious treasure of all, seed biodiversity for the global food supply. Seeds are incredibly important. Farmers around the globe have saved their seeds for millennia, cultivating thousands of varieties. They are more than just food, they are history, and they are the future. But most industrial farms rely on monocultures, making the food supply vulnerable to disease and climate change. The Svalbard Global Seed Vault is a safe place to keep seeds just in case. Far away from wars, safe from earthquakes and fires, in the deep, preserving cold of the Arctic. Just in Case tells the story of the scientists, architects, engineers, and builders who dreamed up this vault, built it, and filled it with over 80,000 seed varieties from almost every country on Earth. Back Matter shares more information about seed banks and the history of the Svalbard Vault, plus resources for kids who are excited to learn more about growing food. Just in Case is on sale October 14th. So with all these October release dates, there must be a Halloween-appropriate book in here somewhere, right? Look no further than Welcome to Whalebone Mansion, Creatures That Lurk at a Whale Fall by Lakin Slate, illustrated by Bindi James. When two intrepid little fish come across a vaulted ceiling of polished bone, they're astonished. What is this incredible undersea mansion? And could it be haunted? It sure is, but these denizens are no ordinary monsters. Goblin sharks, vampire squid, and zombie worms creep through a whale fall, the skeleton of a deceased whale, spooking our underwater explorers and delighting kids with the creepy crawly frights of the deep sea ecosystem. Back Matter gives more information about the ocean depths and the amazing, unique ecosystem that develops as creatures feast on and hide in a whale fall. Welcome to Whalebone Mansion is on sale October 7th. Our nonfiction adventure continues with some compelling biographies. A Flea for Justice by Valerie Bowling, with art by Tamika Grooms, tells the fascinating story of Marion Wright Edelman, a civil rights legend. As a girl, Marion knew it wasn't fair to make Black people use different fountains from white people. So she switched the signs whenever she could. She decided to be a flea for justice, like her hero, Sojourner Truth, and make people itch by pushing for change. Marion grew up to march with Martin Luther King Jr. She became the first Black woman lawyer in Mississippi and started the Children's Defense Fund, which still serves children in need today. Her freedom schools helped spark a love of learning and a community spirit in kids, and they too are still in operation across the country. Let's hear a word from the author on her inspiration for this book.
We need books for all children and books for all types of readers. And I think it's so important for children to know Mrs. Edelman's story and to see how she started out as a child and who she was as a child so that they might see perhaps who they might become. She fought tirelessly for children's rights and racial justice, and I want children to know about people like that. And so I'm hoping that by hearing this story, they'll be inspired. I want them to know that they can make a difference by speaking out and by standing up for what they believe and, what matters to them, especially if it's about what's right for humanity. And so that's why I wanted to tell her story and inspire the next generation of Fleas for Justice.
Sprinkled throughout with Marion's own words, this engrossing biography reminds us all that there are many ways, big and small, to make a difference. A Flea for Justice is on sale September 16th. Remember Her Name by Tammy Charles, illustrated by Meredith Lucius, tells the story of renowned dancer Debbie Allen's rise to fame. As a child in Houston, Texas, Debbie Allen was born with a big dream. She loved nothing more than dance, but in the 1950s, segregation ruled the South, and the Houston Ballet Foundation would not accept a Black student. Her mother knew that Debbie's dreams were worth fighting for, so the Allen family moved to integrated Mexico City in 1960, where Debbie studied at the Ballet Nacional de Mexico. There were many firsts and some language mistakes in this new place, but Debbie bloomed with hope and opportunity. When the time came for her family to move back to America, Debbie was ready to keep dancing, pursuing a career that would lead her to the national stage and the TV screen. Based on the author's interview with Debbie Allen herself, this gripping biography is perfect for kids with big dreams. Remember Her Name is on sale February 10th. Next up, we're easing out of the realm of nonfiction with a mostly true story about the origin of morning baseball. Baseball for Breakfast by Judy Campbell Smith, with illustrations by Margaret Carroll. Jimmy's family loves going to see the Milwaukee Brewers together, but World War II brings big changes. Pop goes overseas to fight in the Navy, and Ma starts working the night shift at a factory. Now Jimmy gets himself up for school and eats breakfast alone. Ma sleeps while he's at school, then feeds him dinner and gets him to bed before going back to the factory. He makes the best of it with his friends, but he still misses spending time with his parents. A chance encounter with Bill Veek, the owner of the Brewers, sparks a new idea: morning baseball for night shift workers who can't see an afternoon game. On May 8th, 1943, Ma comes home from work and turns right back around with Jimmy to head to the stadium. Ushers in nightgowns, popcorn vendors armed with cornflakes and donuts, and a special appearance by Coach Red Smith in a 4-poster bed liven up the classic fun of a baseball game. This fictionalized account celebrates the real history of the Milwaukee Brewers morning games, which were advertised as an event for Rosie the Riveter and her boyfriends on the swing shift. Baseball for Breakfast is on sale February 17th. Charlotte's New Moccasins by Jen Mudahy with illustrations by Rael McGregor is a heartwarming story rooted in Métis Indigenous traditions. Charlotte loves running around outside in her moccasins, but one day her feet just won't fit in them anymore. This calls for a trip to Grandma's house. Charlotte picks out the colors for a new pair in Grandma's workshop and watches wide-eyed as Grandma walks her step-by-step through the process of moccasin making. As they work together, Grandma and Charlotte laugh, share stories, and even turn a little workshop accident into a bold new design for the beaded uppers. She can't wait to grow out of these beautiful new shoes and help her grandma make the next pair. This warm and cheerful story by a Métis author-illustrator team highlights a close grandparent-grandchild relationship and the beauty of passing along Indigenous traditions from one generation to the next. Charlotte's New Moccasins is on sale October 14th. Next up, we have a funny and all-too-relatable sibling story, Sticky Hermana by Ana Siqueira, with illustrations by Olivia de Castro. We've all been there. You love your little sibling, you have tons of fun together, but sometimes they're just too sticky. Claudia loves having a little sister most of the time, but Monica wants to do everything with her. When the last straw drops, Claudia tries to get Monica to stay home from her football tournament by telling her a monster will eat her up. Of course, they have to find a way to make up. But when a bubblegum peace offering goes awry, the sisters discover a whole new meaning of the word sticky. This lighthearted bilingual tale of sisterhood is also available in Spanish. Sticky Hermana and Hermana Pegajosa are on sale October 28th. Let's wrap up with one of my favorites of the spring 26 season, A Family of Readers by Rob Sanders with art by Gabby Benda. One sunny day at the local library, a family of readers rushed in the front door to read and enjoy, to search and explore. At first, they're just here for the books, but soon, Mom is lured away by a drove of mechanics discussing trucks and cars. They might have an answer for a problem she's been having with the family van. Dad is excited about chefs working on their bread making. And is that a robot battle happening over there? One by one, the readers peel away to explore everything the library has to offer: education, entertainment, and community. But the youngest reader stays absorbed. He reads and reads and reads, engrossed in the wonderful places that only a book can take him. As library services thread the needle of this precarious political moment, Rob Sanders gives us an open-hearted celebration of the amazing services that libraries are uniquely poised to provide. A Family of Readers is on sale January 20th. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at cperry@charlesbridge.com. You can find digital galleys, bonus videos, downloadables, and more on our website at charlesbridge.com/pbwebinar. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you so much, Colette. Our final presenter will be Deidre Purvis, and Deidre is the acquisitions editor for Free Spirit Publishing. Thank you so much for joining us. Take it away.
Hi, thank you. Excited to be here. First, a little bit about us. TCM began in 1977 with a book by our founder, Rochelle Crocchiolo. Since then, TCM has grown into a leading educational publisher. In 2021, we expanded beyond classrooms and into homes around the world when we acquired Free Spirit Publishing. And for over 40 years, we've stayed true to our mission at Free Spirit to provide children and teens and the adults who care for them with the tools they need to think for themselves, overcome challenges, and make a difference in the world. I'm the acquiring editor, and I'm excited to share our picture books with you, beginning with our new standalone picture books. Out today, I am so excited for this one, Bay's Balikbayan Box of Treasures by Christine Alamshah and illustrated by Dream Chen, tells the story of a Filipina-American girl who packs a box full of treasures for her relatives in the Philippines. For Bea, a box can be a bear cave, a playhouse, or even a rocket ship. But then Bea's box has an important destiny. She and her family fill it up with goodies for their relatives. A Balikbayan box is the ultimate international care package and an expression of love for many Filipino families living abroad. When the package has been shipped, Bea waits for it to arrive overseas. Meanwhile, she learns about the Balikbayan box tradition and how it helps sustain her connection to her faraway family. This book encourages family connection and features a curious, imaginative main character readers will love. Christine Alamshah is a Filipina-American author of children's books that champion innovation and celebrate multiculturalism. She lives in Forest Lake, California. How to Train Your Amygdala by Anna Housley-Juster and illustrated by Cynthia Cliff is now available as an English-Spanish bilingual edition. This amusing character-driven narrative helps children learn to calm their amygdala and control their fight, flight, freeze impulses. Author Anna Housley-Juster is a child mental health clinician with a deep understanding of teaching kids about anxiety calming strategies in an engaging, playful manner. Next, we have Tummy's Flip Heart Skip by Chris Downing and illustrated by Vivian Meinker. With fantastical illustrations, this book follows a young girl's emotional journey through larger-than-life scenarios, helping children learn to decode the sensations they feel, name their emotions, and learn to self-regulate. Author Chris Downing is a licensed clinical social worker and a somatic experiencing practitioner, and Vivian Meinker's magical and expressive art evokes physical sensations and helps the reader imagine how feelings feel in their own body. I really love this book. This amazing book helps kids feel more in control because when kids can name what they feel, they can learn how to cope. Next, in Sometimes Stormy by Amanda Davis, a boy named Ezra realizes his dad is plagued by a troubling storm that sometimes visits their home and changes Dad. He wants to make it go away, but when the storm persists, Ezra turns to caring adults who help him discover how to live with the sometimes storm instead. Written from a place of lived experience and with strategies supported by child psychologists, this debut uses lyrical first-person text, assuring children that an adult's addiction is not their fault. This book teaches kids how to cope and where to turn and provides tools for emotional safety and healing. Next, we have Celebrate We Gula Geechee by Yvette Murray and illustrated by Tanya Engel. 5 children share how they see, hear, smell, taste, and touch their world, the Gula Geechee Heritage Corridor. See the red bricks of historic buildings, hear the ba-dump of riders on horseback, and feel the prickly bark of the palmetto tree. This book uplifts Gula Geechee history and culture, spotlights the importance of family, community, and place, and engages children with rhythmic writing and lots of onomatopoeia. Author Yvette R. Murray is an award-winning poet and author living in Charleston, South Carolina. And one more interior, just gorgeous art in this book. Next, we have Arlo All Over Again by Sayuri Sobrowski and illustrated by Dave Soleil. Everyone except Oliver is excited to play in the snow. As he stands there, freezing and lonely, Arlo appears and asks to play. The two become fast friends. Arlo even helps Oliver find the courage to try sledding, and it turns out to be pretty fun. After the snow melts, Oliver can't recognize Arlo without his orange swimsuit, but Oliver never forgets Arlo. Now, when Oliver feels scared to try something new, he thinks of Arlo. Then, when summer rolls around, everyone except Oliver wants to go to the pool. Will Oliver have the courage to make a new friend all over again? Arlo All Over Again portrays the magic of friendship between 2 boys in New York City and emphasizes SEL themes of optimism, trying new things, bravery, and friendship. Next, we'll look at new picture book series. The mini musical Tales from Bird Mountain series by Mary Rand Hess and Randy Preston, illustrated by Morella Pirelli, blends literature and performing arts. Each book comes with online access to a script and original song recordings, so children can stage their own mini musicals. In Bravo for Backstage, Oscar dreams of being in the spotlight, but when the lead role in the school play goes to someone else, he finds himself disappointed to be given the role of stage manager. Oscar wonders how he can be a star if no one sees him. With encouragement from family and friends, Oscar learns about the amazing people who shine from behind the scenes. As Oscar works to keep things going backstage, he realizes that being backstage doesn't mean being invisible. It means being indispensable. In Chicken Predicament, when Lady Cluckery runs away, the students need to find her before the bell rings. They have to split up if they want to find Mama Chicken. This book features creative problem solving and teamwork. And here's another interior. And finally, The Great Dance On teaches us that everyone should feel safe dancing however they want. Navia is nervous for the class dance-off. It's supposed to boost the students' energy, but a dance contest isn't Navia's idea of a good time, and she's not alone. This book provides ideas for self-expression and explores how to help others feel comfortable being themselves. And next, I am so excited to present the new Disability Books for Kids series. This series explores visible and invisible disabilities in the first person as seen through the eyes of children, written from lived experience. The series builds allyship, challenges ableism, and celebrates difference, empowering and educating all readers. First, More Than What I See by Miso Kwok and illustrated by Thais Mesquita tells the story of Maya, who explains in her own words what it's like to be blind. She reads Braille, plays sports with her friends, and enjoys painting and writing. With the help of her cane, Maya confidently navigates the world without sight, even if she occasionally wishes her eyes could see. Maya loves being who she is, curious, creative, kind, and blind. Debut author Miso Kwok was born in South Korea and has been blind since birth. She hopes that all disabled children can grow up feeling loved and confident in who they are. So she is pursuing a PhD in special education at the University of Madison, Wisconsin. Next, Uncommonly Curious, Eternally Autistic by Rasha Hamid and illustrated by Rachel and Philippa Corkett, introduces readers to 3 young autistic children who explain what it's like to live with autism. They share their special interests, what helps when they feel overstimulated, and how they communicate. Together, the 3 children learn, play, and celebrate the many ways they are autistically amazing. Author Rasha Hamid has been a special educator for over 20 years. She began creating picture books to fill the need for books reflecting her students, their experiences, and their passions. Rasha is proud to be the autistic mom of an autistic young adult. Next, in I Spark Like Lightning by Jenna Elise Johnson and illustrated by Sue Theodore, Jen explains what it's like to live with seizures, the lightning storms that sometimes spark through her brain. With the help of her family, friends, and her service dog Hamilton, Jen manages her epilepsy and appreciates the lightning as part of who she is. Author Jenna Elise Johnson writes stories for children that are informed by her life, which sometimes includes tales about her service dog Hamilton. As a disabled author, Jenna's passion to write about disability, joy, and help disabled children feels seen on the page. Jenna lives in Folsom, California. And finally, in My Life as an Astronaut by Jake Lockett and illustrated by Adriana Predoy, Jacob explains that when an asthma attack occurs, he feels like an astronaut floating off to outer space with an empty air tank. But astronaut Jacob is getting used to managing his asthma. He stays calm as he reaches for his inhaler and refills his tank. He counts to 10 and comes back down to earth, where he can breathe easily, surrounded by people who love him. Jake Lockett writes books and stories for children. He lives with asthma, but he never lets the disability stop him from having fun and being himself. And next, we'll look at continued series. The Thank You World series by Dan McCauley and illustrated by Joe Loring Fisher encourage children to appreciate nature, connect with their senses, and stay present in the moment. Thank You Sun follows a boy who appreciates his connection to the sun and his mama. As the boy spends the day with his mama, they plant seeds, splash each other with water, and dance, all while letting their minds find peace. Thank You Sun demonstrates connection, appreciation, quieting worries, and grateful contemplation. And next, Thank You Snow follows a young girl who leaves the cozy warmth of her home to join her family for a nature walk in the snow. They venture out, noticing the sensations around them. They share their gratitude for nature's gift, the bright sky, scent of evergreen trees, and even their breath for roaming clouds in the crisp air. This book demonstrates optimism, mindfulness, gratitude, and connection. Next, the We Find Feelings Clue series, written by Lindsay Giroux and illustrated by Alicia Tiba-Godoy, helps young children understand how to identify body clues in themselves and others. Author Lindsay Giroux specializes in coaching social-emotional development and preventing challenging behavior. And just out today, I Know Scared adds to this series a book about feeling scared, worried, and surprised. The illustrations show a full range of body language associated with each emotion. And then next up for Lindsay, I Know Curious is a book about feeling curious, bored, and confused, and it will complete the 6-book set in December. And a quick interior spread, and then that is all I have to share. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you, Deidre. And another big thank you to all of today's presenters. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's slide presentation, title list, certificate of completion, and video recording. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones like those you see here. You can also find out about the latest webinars on our social media channels. You can visit us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Blue Sky. Booklist's 2025 Guide to Graphic Novels in Libraries is here. This year's special issue features articles on how to combat self-censorship, graphic memoirs for teens, readers' advisory tips, cat manga, and much more. The digital issue is free and open to everyone on the Booklist website, so head over to start reading now. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, and another huge thanks to our panelists and our sponsors, Phoenix International Publications, Tundra, Publisher Spotlight, Charlesbridge, and Free Spirit Publishing. This concludes today's webinar. See you next time.